On the vibrant planet of Viridian, where the skies shimmered with shades of green and blue, lived a young biotechnologist named Lyra. She was known for her sharp mind and innovative ideas, yet beneath her remarkable talent lay a deep sorrow. Viridian was a world where technology thrived, and its people were proud of their advanced genetic engineering. However, they held strict laws that governed reproduction, and Lyra was one of the unfortunate souls condemned never to have children. From a young age, Lyra dreamed of being a mother. She envisioned a family filled with laughter and love, children running through the fields playing under the bright sun. But at the age of 20, she discovered her fate. A genetic condition, one that affected her ability to conceive, had been identified in her DNA. The news shattered her dreams and left her feeling isolated. Despite this, Lyra dedicated herself to her work. She spent long hours in her lab, surrounded by cutting-edge equipment and colorful bioluminescent plants. Her research focused on developing new technologies to enhance the health of her people. She believed that if she could not create life in her own body, she would contribute to the well-being of others. Her colleagues respected her, but they could not understand the weight of her loss. As Lyra looked out of her lab window, she often saw families gathering in the park below. Parents played with their children, and the sound of laughter filled the air. Each joyful moment reminded her of what she could never have. Her heart ached, but she pushed the pain aside, channeling her emotions into her work. She became a pioneer in her field, known for her breakthroughs in genetic research. Yet the loneliness seeped into her life. Friends would invite her to celebrations, but she often declined. The thought of watching others celebrate milestones she would never experience was too painful. Instead, she immersed herself in her studies, hoping that one day she might find a way to overcome her condition. The dream of motherhood flickered like a distant star, always out of reach but never fully extinguished. One day, while attending a conference on interstellar biotechnology, Lyra's life would take an unexpected turn. She was presenting her latest findings when a human scientist named Ethan caught her attention. He was new to Viridian, filled with curiosity and excitement about the advanced technology of this alien world. As he listened to her speak, he was captivated not just by her knowledge, but by the passion that shone in her eyes. After her presentation, Ethan approached her. "I was really impressed by your work," he said with a warm smile. "You have a gift for explaining complex ideas." Lyra, surprised by his compliment, felt a flicker of warmth in her heart. They began to talk, initially about science, but then about their lives. Ethan shared stories about Earth, his home, and Lyra opened up about her dreams and her heartbreak. Their conversation flowed easily, filling the space between them with laughter and understanding. For the first time in a long while, Lyra felt a connection that lifted her spirits. Ethan's genuine interest in her work and his kind demeanor made her forget the weight of her limitations, if only for a moment. Little did they know, this meeting would change the course of both their lives forever. As the sun rose over the horizon of Viridian, Lyra found herself lost in thought about her recent encounter with Ethan. After the conference, she couldn't shake the feeling that their meeting was more than just a coincidence. His enthusiasm for science matched her own, and she felt a spark of hope that she hadn't experienced in years. With this new energy, she decided to visit the Central Research Facility, where she could immerse herself in her work and possibly run into Ethan again. The facility was bustling with activity. Scientists from different species collaborated on various projects, creating an atmosphere filled with excitement and innovation. Lyra walked through the halls, her mind racing with ideas. She hoped to develop a new project that could benefit the people of Viridian, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Ethan. What would it be like to work alongside him? She imagined their discussions, filled with laughter and shared dreams. Later, that day, as she was reviewing her research data, she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Hey, Lyra," Ethan called out, his face lighting up with a bright smile. He was holding a cup of steaming tea, a gift he had brought from Earth, which he thought she might enjoy. "I hope you don't mind, but I asked around and found out where you work." Lyra turned, surprised and pleased to see him. "Ethan, I'm glad you came. I didn't think I would see you so soon." She gestured for him to join her at her workstation. As they spoke, Ethan shared stories about his life on Earth, the lush forests, bustling cities, and the warmth of family gatherings. Each tale painted a vivid picture in Lyra's mind, pulling her into a world she had only heard about. Ethan was equally fascinated by Viridian's culture and technology. Lyra explained her research, showing him the colorful plants and the intricate processes involved in genetic engineering. "You see, we can modify plants to grow under extreme conditions. It's all about adapting to our environment," she explained, her passion evident in her voice. As they talked, Lyra felt a connection grow between them. Ethan's genuine curiosity and respect for her work made her heart flutter. He listened, intently, asking questions that showed he truly cared about her research. It was refreshing to feel valued, especially after years of feeling defined by her limitations. Over the following weeks, Ethan continued to visit her at the facility. They formed a routine, often spending their breaks together sharing meals and laughter. They would discuss their dreams and goals, and in those moments, Lyra began to feel a sense of freedom. With Ethan, she could talk about her desire for children, without fear of judgment. "I have always wanted to be a mother," she confessed one day, her voice soft. "But I never thought it would be possible for me." Ethan looked at her with understanding. "You deserve to pursue your dreams, Lyra. There may be ways to explore possibilities that haven't been considered yet." His words ignited a flicker of hope within her. Could there be a solution? Could they find a way to create life together, combining their knowledge and creativity? Inspired by their discussions, Lyra began to brainstorm ideas for a new project that could potentially change everything. She wanted to explore genetic solutions that could allow her to overcome her limitations. With Ethan by her side, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they could challenge the boundaries that society had placed on her. As their friendship deepened, Lyra realized that Ethan was more than just a colleague. He was someone who believed in her dreams. The warmth of their connection filled her with hope, and for the first time she felt that perhaps her dream of motherhood could become a reality after all. As the days turned into weeks, Lyra and Ethan's bond grew stronger. They spent countless hours in the lab, their discussions shifting from casual chats to serious conversations about the future. One afternoon, while examining genetic samples, Ethan looked up at Lyra with a thoughtful expression. "Have you ever considered what it would take to create a child who could inherit traits from both of us?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. Lyra paused, her heart racing at the thought. "I've always dreamed of being a mother, but I never thought it could be possible for me. My condition, it makes things complicated." Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke of her limitations, but Ethan's encouraging smile gave her strength. "I believe we can find a way," he replied confidently. "With your knowledge of Viridian's biotechnology and my understanding of human genetics, we could explore possibilities that others might not even think of." His words ignited a flame of hope within her, and for the first time she felt a sense of excitement about her dream. They decided to start a new project together, one that would focus on combining their genetic materials to create a viable path for conception. It would be a daring venture, one that pushed the boundaries of their scientific knowledge, but they were determined to try. They spent late nights in the lab, poring over research papers, analyzing data, and brainstorming ideas. Every moment was filled with anticipation and a shared purpose. As they worked side by side, Lyra began to notice how Ethan's presence brightened her days. He had a way of making her laugh, even when the work became challenging. During one particularly stressful evening as they struggled with a complex equation, Ethan suddenly broke into a silly dance, trying to lighten the mood. Lyra burst into laughter, the tension fading away. "You're ridiculous," she said, wiping tears of joy from her eyes. "Sometimes you just need to bring a little joy into the lab," he replied, grinning. In that moment, Lyra realized how much she cherished their time together. Ethan was not just a colleague, he was becoming her closest friend and confidant. As their project progressed, they faced numerous challenges. Some of their initial experiments did not yield the results they hoped for, and moments of doubt crept in. What if we fail? Lyra wondered aloud one evening, her voice tinged with worry. What if we can't find a solution? Ethan took her hand gently, his eyes steady and reassuring. Failure is part of the journey, Lyra. Every great discovery comes with setbacks. We just need to keep pushing forward. Remember why we started this. His words reminded her of their shared dream, and she felt a renewed sense of determination. Together, they began to refine their approach. They considered various methods of genetic manipulation, searching for the right combination that would allow them to create life. The excitement of their work invigorated them, and they spent long nights in the lab, fueled by caffeine and passion. As they delved deeper into their research, they discovered a groundbreaking technique that could potentially allow them to combine their genetic materials safely. They were amazed by the possibilities it presented. This could really work, Lyra exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. We might actually have a chance. Ethan nodded, his enthusiasm matching hers. Let's keep going. We're on the brink of something incredible. With their hearts full of hope, they continued to work tirelessly, driven by the dream of bringing new life into the world, a life that would embody the strength of both human and Viridian heritage. In those moments, Lyra felt a profound connection to Ethan. They were not just partners in research. They were partners in a dream that could change everything. With each step they took, she felt the weight of her limitations begin to lift, replaced by the promise of a brighter future. Together, they were forging a path towards something extraordinary. The day had finally arrived when Lyra and Ethan were ready to present their groundbreaking research to the Viridian Council. After weeks of hard work, late nights, and countless experiments, they were filled with a mix of excitement and anxiety. They knew that their findings had the potential to change everything for Lyra and others like her. However, they also understood the risks involved in challenging traditional norms. Lyra stood in front of the council chamber, her heart racing as she glanced around at the faces of the council members. These were the leaders of Viridian, fierce, protectors of their culture and traditions. Ethan stood beside her, offering silent support. The chamber was filled with tension as they prepared to share their proposal. Honorable members of the council, Lyra began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Today we present a solution that could redefine the future of our species. Our research combines human and Viridian genetics in a way that could allow those like me, those deemed unable to have children, to pursue their dreams of motherhood. As she spoke, she could see some council members exchanging skeptical glances. She pressed on, sharing their findings, explaining the science behind their work and illustrating how it could benefit not only individuals, but society as a whole. Ethan chimed in, adding context. By embracing this technology, we can foster a new generation that embodies the strengths of both species. Imagine the possibilities, new ideas, innovations, and a deeper understanding between our peoples. He gestured passionately, hoping to convey the importance of their work. As they concluded their presentation, the room fell silent. The council members began to deliberate, their expressions serious. After a few moments, one of the elder members, Councillor Thalan, spoke up. This is an interesting proposal, but it raises many ethical questions. Are we prepared to cross the boundaries of our genetic laws? Lyra felt a knot form in her stomach. She knew they would face opposition, but she also felt compelled to defend their work. With all due respect, Counselor, we must consider the needs of individuals who suffer under these laws. My condition has caused me immense pain, and I am not alone. This research offers hope to many. The council continued to debate and tensions rose. Some members argued passionately in favor, while others expressed deep concerns about the implications of their work. Lyra watched as the discussion unfolded, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel Ethan's supportive presence beside her, urging her to remain strong. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the back of the room. It was Jarek, a prominent leader known for his traditional views. This is madness. We cannot allow this experiment to proceed. What will our ancestors think? What if it leads to unforeseen consequences? His words sent a wave of unease through the chamber. The debate escalated, and Lyra realized they were at a critical turning point. She took a deep breath and stepped forward, her voice steady. We cannot let fear dictate our future. Science has always pushed boundaries and opened new doors. Our ancestors would want us to adapt and grow, not to remain stagnant out of fear of the unknown. We have the chance to create a brighter future for generations to come. Her words resonated with some members of the council, igniting a spark of hope. As the discussions continued, Ethan stood beside her, his expression filled with determination. They both knew that their fight was not just for themselves, but for countless others who longed for the same opportunity. After what felt like an eternity, the council finally reached a decision. Counselor Thalen turned to Lyra and Ethan, his expression serious but thoughtful. We will allow you to proceed with your research under strict guidelines. However, you must ensure that ethics and safety remain your top priorities. Relief washed over Lyra, and she exchanged a glance with Ethan. They had won the first battle, but they knew that their journey was far from over. With renewed determination, they prepared to take the next steps in their groundbreaking project, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they were ready to fight for their dreams. With the council's approval, Lyra and Ethan felt a surge of excitement. They had been granted the chance to continue their research, and now they were more determined than ever to make their dream a reality. The lab buzzed with energy as they began to refine their project, focusing on the groundbreaking technique they had discovered. For days, they worked tirelessly, experimenting with different combinations of human and viridian genetics. They meticulously documented every detail, every result, and every setback. Lyra felt a sense of purpose as she delved into her work, each day bringing them closer to their goal. Ethan was her constant support, always encouraging her and sharing ideas that sparked new insights. One particular evening, as they reviewed their latest results, Lyra noticed something unexpected. "Ethan, look at this data," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with surprise. "The combination we tested last week shows a significant increase in viability." She pointed to the screen where graphs illustrated their progress. "This could be the breakthrough we've been hoping for." Ethan leaned closer, studying the data. "You're right. This is incredible. If we can replicate these results, in our next trials, we might actually have a viable method for conception." His excitement was infectious, and Lyra felt her heart race with hope. They had worked so hard, and now they were on the brink of something extraordinary. As they prepared for the next round of experiments, Lyra's mind was filled with possibilities. She imagined a future where she could hold her child in her arms, the child she had always dreamed of. But with that hope came a wave of anxiety. What if they failed? What if their research didn't lead to the results they needed? She pushed those thoughts aside, focusing instead on the task at hand. The following days were filled with intense work. They conducted experiments, collected data, and analyzed results late into the night. Each success fueled their determination, while each setback tested their resolve. They faced moments of frustration and doubt, but they always found strength in each other. Lyra appreciated Ethan's ability to lighten the mood, often cracking jokes or bringing her favorite snacks to keep her spirits high. Finally, after weeks of hard work, the moment of truth arrived. They set up their most ambitious experiment, yet one that would test their combined genetic material for the first time. With bated breath, they initiated the process, watching as the machines whirred to life. The atmosphere in the lab was thick with anticipation. As the hours passed, they monitored the data closely, hoping for positive results. Just when they were starting to feel the weight of uncertainty, a notification flashed on the screen. "Data analysis complete," it read. Lyra and Ethan exchanged nervous glances, their hearts racing. With shaking hands, Lyra clicked to view the results. When the data appeared, they both gasped in disbelief. The experiment had succeeded beyond their expectations. The viability rates were higher than they had ever seen. "We did it. We actually..." did it!" Lyra exclaimed, tears of joy welling in her eyes. Ethan pulled her into a tight embrace, both of them overwhelmed by the magnitude of their achievement. "This is just the beginning," he said, still holding her close. "We have to document everything and prepare for the next steps." They knew that while this breakthrough was monumental, it was only the first part of their journey. They needed to share their findings with the council and begin the process of ethical approvals for their next experiments. With their hearts full of hope and determination, they set to work on the documentation, eager to share their success with the world. Lyra felt a renewed sense of purpose, and for the first time, she truly believed that her dream of motherhood was within reach. Together, they had opened a door to a future filled with possibility, and nothing could dim the light of their shared dream. With their significant breakthrough behind them, Lyra and Ethan were filled with excitement and hope. They spent the following days preparing a comprehensive presentation to share their findings with the Viridian Council. They knew that this next step would be crucial in gaining further approval for their research. As they worked together, their bond deepened and they felt more like partners than ever. The day of the presentation arrived, and the atmosphere in the council chamber was tense. Council members gathered, some appearing supportive while others looked skeptical. Lyra took a deep breath as she stepped forward to present their work. She shared the details of their experiments, the success of their combined genetic materials, and the potential benefits for those who, like her, had been denied the chance to have children. Ethan supported her, highlighting the scientific advancements and the ethical considerations they had taken into account. "This research represents hope for many families," he added passionately. "We can create a future where our people can thrive together, merging the strengths of both Viridian and humanity." As they shared their findings, some council members nodded in agreement, but others remained unconvinced. A familiar face emerged from the crowd: Jarek, the traditionalist leader who had opposed them before. His expression was stern, and Lyra felt a knot form in her stomach. She knew he would challenge their proposal. When the opportunity for questions arose, Jarek stood up, his voice booming in the chamber. "While this research is intriguing, it raises serious ethical concerns. Are we willing to play gods with our own genetics? What if these experiments lead to unintended consequences? We must consider the risks involved in tampering with our very nature." Lyra's heart raced at his words. She had anticipated this challenge, but hearing it aloud made her feel vulnerable. She glanced at Ethan, who gave her a reassuring nod. Gathering her courage, she replied, "I understand your concerns, Jarek, but we must also consider the suffering of those who have been denied the joy of parenthood. Science has always pushed boundaries for the sake of progress. We have a responsibility to use our knowledge to improve lives." Jarek was not easily swayed. "And what about the traditions that have guided us for centuries? We cannot abandon our values for the sake of experimentation. This could lead to chaos in our society." Lyra felt the tension in the room rise. She knew she had to stand firm. Tradition is important, but so is progress. We cannot let fear of the unknown hold us back. If we do not adapt, we risk stagnation. Our ancestors would want us to seek new solutions to the challenges we face. The council members murmured among themselves, divided in their opinions. Lyra and Ethan exchanged worried glances. They could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on them. Just when it seemed like the council might lean toward Jarek's perspective, another voice spoke up from the back, a younger council member named Mira, who had a reputation for being open-minded. "I believe we should consider the potential benefits of this research," Mira said, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. "Imagine a future where every person has the right to choose their path, to create life if they wish. We should not shy away from innovation, especially when it can bring hope to so many." Her words resonated with a portion of the council, and Lyra felt a surge of hope. Perhaps there was a chance for them after all. The discussion continued, voices rising and falling as members debated the moral implications versus the potential for positive change. As the debate raged on, Lyra felt a mix of nerves and determination. She realized that they were not just fighting for their research. They were fighting for the dreams of countless others who longed for a chance at parenthood. She took a deep breath ready to speak again, determined to make her voice heard in this critical moment. Finally, after a long and heated discussion, Counselor Thalen called for a vote. "We must weigh the benefits against the risks," he stated gravely. "Let us decide whether to move forward with this research under strict ethical guidelines." Lyra's heart raced as she waited for the outcome. Would they be granted the chance to continue, or would their dreams be dashed? The moment of truth had arrived, and she could only hope that their vision for a brighter future would prevail. The chamber was silent as the council members cast their votes. Lyra held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest. Beside her, Ethan stood with a determined expression, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. They had come so far, and the outcome of this vote would determine whether their dreams of creating new life could become a reality. After a tense few minutes, Counselor Thalen cleared his throat. "The results are in," he announced, his voice echoing in the stillness. "The council has voted in favor of allowing the continuation of the research under strict ethical guidelines." Lyra's heart soared as cheers erupted from a portion of the audience. Relief washed over her, and she turned to Ethan, tears of joy filling her eyes. "We did it. We actually did it," she exclaimed, overwhelmed by emotion. Ethan pulled her into a tight embrace, both of them feeling the weight of their journey lift. The council meeting concluded with a sense of hope and excitement. They had overcome significant obstacles, and now they had the support they needed to move forward. As they left the chamber, Lyra felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were on the brink of something incredible, and she could finally see a path toward her dream. In the following weeks, Lyra and Ethan worked diligently to refine their research. They established a new lab, equipped with the latest technology, where they could continue their experiments under the council's guidelines. The atmosphere was electric with possibility, and they dedicated themselves to their work with passion and enthusiasm. Every day brought new challenges, but they faced them together, growing closer in the process. Lyra admired Ethan's unwavering dedication and his ability to find humor even in the most stressful situations. They shared late-night brainstorming sessions, laughter, and moments of quiet reflection. Together, they were building not just a project but a future. One evening, as they reviewed their latest data, Ethan turned to Lyra with a serious expression. "I want you to know how much this means to me," he said sincerely. "We're not just making scientific history. We're creating a chance for life. Your dream is becoming real, and I'm honored to be part of it." Lyra felt a warmth spread through her as she looked into his eyes. "Thank you, Ethan. I couldn't have done this without you. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." They shared a moment of understanding, recognizing the depth of their connection and the journey they had embarked on together. As their research progressed, they began to see promising results. The viability rates continued to improve, and they felt hopeful that they were close to achieving their ultimate goal. Lyra dreamed of the day when she could finally hold her child, a dream that had seemed impossible not long ago. Finally, the moment they had been working toward arrived. After months of hard work and dedication, Lyra and Ethan conducted their most critical experiment. They combined their genetic materials in a controlled environment, watching as the process unfolded. The lab was filled with anticipation, and they worked side by side, encouraging each other through the tension. As the experiment concluded, they waited anxiously for the results. Lyra clutched Ethan's hand, her heart racing. When the data appeared on the screen, they both gasped. The results showed a high rate of success, and tears of joy filled Lyra's eyes. "We did it, we actually did it," she cried, overwhelmed with happiness. In that moment, Lyra realized that their journey was not just about science. It was about love, hope, and the power of believing in each other. Together, they had forged a new path, one that would allow for the creation of life and the fulfillment of dreams. As they embraced, Lyra knew that this was just the beginning of their incredible journey together, a journey that would lead to a brighter future for them and many others.